Welcome to Chad the Home Care Guy. Real conversations about aging, home care, and the decisions families face every day. Hosted by Chad Fisher, founder of Avail Home Care. Because caring for the people you love shouldn't be confusing. Let's get started.
All right. Hey, guys. It's Chad the Home Care Guy with Avail Home Care, and I am back in today's episode of Chad the Home Care Guy podcast with my good friend Patrick Blythe, who is at Veterans Funeral Care. So we are going to jump right into a little bit about you and tell them about where you're from. I know a little bit about you because we've been hanging out a bunch over the years, but go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about you and how you came to this.
I was born in Melbourne, Florida.
Wow.
My dad got out of the Navy. He was stationed at Crane Naval Weapons Resource Center in southern Indiana, the largest munitions depot at that time in the country. Not a stitch of water by it. Go figure.
Yeah.
So while he was stationed there at the end of his career waiting to get out, he met my mother at church.
Okay.
And so they started dating. He got out of the Navy, decided, let's go to Melbourne, Florida. I got a job lined up.
No kidding.
So they went down there. I was born. Don't remember much of it because mom got homesick. Dad decided to go to Indiana University on the GI Bill.
All right.
And they moved back to Indiana. And so I was raised in southern Indiana for probably 50 years. Decided to move down here about 9 years ago.
Okay. And you were in the funeral service
and I was
up there.
Got out of college, started a little small business, sold it, didn't really have anything to do. And I ran into the local funeral home owner, Mr. Plummer, in Walmart.
Really?
And he said, what are you doing these days? And I said, I don't know. I just sold my business. I don't know what I want to do. And he goes, you have a suit, don't you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, put it on, come up and see me Monday morning. I'll put you work till you figure out what you want to do.
No kidding.
I turned into 14 and a half years trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I ended up being their pre-need manager.
Sure.
And managed all their pre-needs. After 14 and a half years, decided that's not really what I want to do. I want to do something different. Got into retail.
Okay.
I was a district manager, training manager. Moved down here with CVS Pharmacy.
Okay.
Moved to Sarasota and just decided I didn't want to work 50 and 60 hours anymore.
Sure.
Didn't know anybody around here. Just bought a house in Largo and had a friend say, hey, you used to be in the funeral business, didn't you? Well, I need to introduce you to my good friend Jim Rudolph, who owns Veterans Funeral Care. Yeah, sure. I'll talk to him. So we sat down and talked for probably 3 hours. Imagine that with Jim.
Yeah. Got there before this interview.
I was like trying to pull you out.
Great guy.
Yeah. And he said, hey, you know what? I don't have a job available, but if you'll come in on Monday, we'll figure something out.
Really?
And I've been here almost 9 years. I started at the bottom, and just moved up. And now I'm really the operations manager. I'm the XO. He calls me all the time. I'm second in command. So
that's awesome.
Next to him. So that's really where my journey went. I've been in the funeral business 22 plus years.
Wow. That's really,
it's been really, really rewarding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, I want you to touch base on this place because there's a certain name to this place, Veterans Funeral Care.
Right.
But at the same time, I found out after meeting you and coming here, one, there's this really cool museum. I don't know, you guys can only see a little bit of this in the podcast video. It's worth coming down here and really walking inside and taking a look. It's amazing. I've come here several times and you find something new, like a treasure every time you walk through this place. But tell them a little bit about not only how this happened right here, but also some of the services that you guys have, because I know that you have more than just the funeral service.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been in business since 2001. The owner, Jim Rudolph, started Veterans Funeral Care in 2001, marked the first veteran-centric themed funeral home in the country. And he trademarked it, which was smart. And so he's been in 3 different locations. We moved up here to North Belcher 5 years ago. And like you said, Chad, I mean, we're really proud of the museum. I walk in here and go, whoa, when did we get that?
Yeah, it's super cool. I actually have some things I think that I'll bring in
that
here.
We'd love to have it because that's what everything in here has been from people we have served for the last 25, 26 years. Clearly, Veterans Funeral Care, we're veteran centric.
Yes.
So we want to take care of our veterans and their spouses and their families. But we don't just serve veterans. We serve everyone. Um, um, Admiral McRaven had once said that if you have a veteran in your family, you're part of the veteran community.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
Even though I didn't serve, my father did, my grandfather did. I have 3 uncles that served. I have 1 uncle that was career military, buried at Fort Snelling in Minneapolis. I had cousins that served. So it's all around us, just because I didn't serve, I grew up in a military household.
Right.
So
right.
I still make my bed every morning, because that's what Dad taught us to do.
Yes, and a quarter off of it.
Well, not quite, but I do make my bed up. So yeah. But yeah, we're really proud of the service that we do. We've done everybody from private first class, to 1 and 2 star generals. So
that's really
we've been
cool.
fortunate. Yep. Yeah.
Families often wait until a crisis to make decisions. So from your experience, what warning signs tell you a family should start planning earlier?
Yeah, we get a lot of the, my husband just went into hospice. He doesn't have very much time left. We want to get everything arranged. And that's fine, just to take something else off their plate. But it really needs to start back before it gets to that point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I took care of a family today that Dad's in hospice care. It could be a matter of days.
Yeah.
Well, we got everything written down. We got everything taken care of. But really, it's back before there. The first thing that all of us should do is get all of that information written down, because we have to ask you a series of 50 to 75 questions. And it's so hard when somebody's just passed to what was your father's mother's maiden name. Some of those questions we don't think about every day become really, really difficult. And all of that goes on the death certificate. So you don't want to mess that up, because an amendment's costly. It takes time. It could hold up any transfer of funds if the death certificate's not correct.
So really, you got to guide those families, slow them down a little bit, and kind of guide them through the process without making quick decisions.
And so that's the first thing, is just getting all that information down. Then we can talk about, what do you want?
Right.
We have found out, over the years that, really in a pre-arrangement situation, depending on the situation, but it's more lighthearted.
Yeah.
People will say, well, I don't want to use this right away. Of course not, but they can think, they can make rational decisions.
Yeah.
I remember one situation where we had a young lady come in. Husband was tragically killed out on the 75, I think, and very young. And she didn't know if she wanted cremation or body burial. And she was stuck. I mean, we got to know how to guide her. She couldn't make that decision.
Yeah. And
basically we had to say, well, why don't you go home, take a breath, talk to family, and then we'll come back and sit down and go through everything. But that's the thing. Does your family know what you want?
Right.
Do they know if you want cremation?
Most of them don't, because who's planning for something like this? It's a stigma,
right?
With especially Americans, I really do think it's a stigma that you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to think about it.
No.
But in the end, it turns out it could be someone else's problem in your family, the family's problem to figure out if you don't figure it out beforehand.
Absolutely.
So,
that's truth.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the hardest things to get out there to people, because there's not a newsletter. You can't just put something out telling people to start planning early.
Right.
I mean, that's tough. Yeah. So I feel for you on that one. That's really tough to get out there.
That's a good point. I mean, anybody that's watching or listening, tell your next of kin, your significant other, whoever, what you really want. Do you want cremation? Do you want a body burial? So those, you got to start there.
Speaking of, let's talk about that. Do you also do cremation?
We do.
Okay.
We own our own crematory. It's down on Roosevelt. That's where this location was for years and years and years.
Okay.
Like I said, about 5 years ago, well, right during COVID, we bought this place and moved everything up here. Well, you can't move a crematory very easily, or at least not feasibly.
Right.
So we still had the building down there. And we just left everything as is. My office is there. Jim's office is there. Keeping our prep room for any embalmings, things like that is down there. So everything's done at Roosevelt.
Okay.
And then we have the ceremonies here.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And tell the people a little bit about, when they come through the door, what's the process like when it comes to, let's say someone knows what they want and they don't want to do cremation, they want to do something else.
Right.
How fast and how easy is the process to go from this to final and understanding what picking your casket out, there's all those things that go along with it. How hard is the process?
It's not hard at all. In fact, if I had a nickel, for every time people stand up after we're done, they're like, that was it? That was easy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
That's what we try to make it. I mean, we do all the paperwork right here. I mean, I'll sit down with the family and I'll get all their data, all their vital statistics, and we keep that on file. That way we don't have to ask that ever again.
Right.
They just have to verify it. Yep, that's it. We send that to the state, to the doctor, to the health department for the death certificates. We use all that data, that vital statistics for that. And then it's a matter of, okay, you want a funeral service. Do you want that here? Do you want it at church? Do you want it at the graveside? Well, I'd just like to have it here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's look at caskets. We have a whole slideshow of caskets. They can look at anything from, very basic all the way up to, there's a gold plated casket for $50,000.
Really?
Nobody's ever bought it, but it is there. And I can show it to you. Honestly, it's ugly.
Yeah.
It's weird. It
much,
just
right?
looks weird. but I always show everybody. I always say like, oh, you can have this one. It's only $50,000. They laugh. They're like, that's not very pretty.
Oh, man.
But all of those decisions are the families. They're more rational in that pre-arrangement time. They think about things a little bit more. I don't really need this. Let's go with this, and we can put it all down on paper. They can look at the price. They can say, yay, nay, let's change this. Let's add this. Let's do whatever.
Yeah.
We arrive at a price and they're like, okay, I want to pay for it. We put that money into trust, and the services and casket or whatever merchandise they pick out is always guaranteed. That's why a lot of people do this. They lock in that price. And, we've seen a lot of things over the years where, they came back in 2010 and they prearranged and it was like $1,100. And now that would be a $6,000 or $7,000 funeral.
Right.
Well, you don't owe us any more money because you paid for it, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's proof right there, guys. I mean, you should be planning early, lock in the prices.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
And we're seeing younger people doing it. We're seeing, not people waiting to their 70s, 80s. We're seeing a lot of 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds coming in. Hey, do you have a payment plan? Yes, we do. Yeah. It goes right into trust.
That's true. The payment plan is probably the easiest way to do it. That way nobody's hit at the end.
Right. It's funny that you have to put 25% down to open the trust. And then it's just like an auto. You get a little coupon book. You tear it off. You write your check. You send it to Tallahassee. They hold the money. So it doesn't even go through our grubby little fingers. Nobody touches it. Goes right into your account. And most people, it's funny, after they do that, maybe about 6 months, they're like, well, what would it take just to pay it off? I just want it done.
Right.
So then they go ahead and pay it off and everything's done.
That's awesome. Talk about some of that. So I've been to quite a few events here. Mm-hmm. Talk about some of the events. Talk about maybe a little bit about was it a tank that was outside at one time? Talk about some of the things that when people can come here, they can see what they can be a part of. And
thankfully, one of your friends we're going to end up with a Hummer, I think.
Are you really?
He brought it up. He wants to park it on there.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to end up with a Hummer.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we told him he could use whatever the parking lot. If he wants to change it out, do whatever he wants. Put a big sign out there for him.
That's cool.
So anyway, look for a Hummer coming up. But yeah, we had a tracker, World War II tracker.
That's what it was.
Tracker. Now in a museum in Normandy.
Really?
Yep. So that's pretty cool. It's the rightful place where it should be.
Yeah. And you guys have done shows here before too, because I think I've been to a show where it was a bunch of military stuff.
We did that a few years ago.
Need to bring that back.
I know.
Yeah, because that was fun. I remember that.
It was really cool. The parking lot was full.
Yes, it was.
So we've got to gear up for more of that. Just having things out on the parking lot, having people come in. like you said, Chad, and see the museum.
The museum
really
is crazy,
cool.
guys. I'm telling
really
you,
cool.
you've got to come here and just spend an hour just walking around this place, and you will be amazed. You don't have to know anything about military.
Right.
This place will teach you about military past.
Yeah.
It really will. Bring kids in. It's open to everybody to come in and walk and take a look and see what they have around. It's truly incredible.
That's a really cool thing. We'll have students just come in and say, "Hey, do you have a funeral going on today? Can we just look at your museum?"
Yeah.
And you'll see them writing notes, and they're doing a book report, or they're doing a report for school or whatever.
Great for that.
Which is amazing.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
it's great for that.
And we've had the Boy Scouts in. We had our chapel full of Boy Scouts, and they were folding the flag, learning to fold the flag, and it was really, really a cool thing.
That brings something to mind. Flags.
Mm-hmm.
I have dropped off probably 3 or 4 flags here before.
Yeah.
Can you tell them about the flag program that you have and how that works and what it's for?
Yep. It's retire your flag with honor. We have different bins in different VFWs or Marine Corps leagues or just drop off in the front.
That's what I've done. Yep.
Every veteran that comes through that we take care of, they're covered with a retired flag.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
It's one last job that American flag can do for our veterans. So when we bring them into our care center, we cover them with a flag. That flag stays with them through the entire process. And before we do the cremation, if it's a cremation, we'll clip one of those stars out, and that's adhered to the cremation authorization that the family gets.
That gives me goosebumps.
I've done it.
It really does.
Thousands of times, right?
Yeah.
And it still means a lot. I mean,
it does.
I gave one to a gentleman. His father was military. He's military. Everybody in the military in the family. And I kind of opened it up and I explained the program to him. And he just looked at me and he goes, "Do you guys think of everything?" And I said, and he goes, "This means so much." I said, "That flag stayed with your dad the whole time he was with us."
That's amazing.
So we use those flags. We really, really do.
Yeah. And there's a box outside.
Right.
So you don't even have to come inside. Right. If it's late at night or early in the morning and they're not open or whatever, then just drive on up, come through, and they've got a white box outside that's got the flag drop that's right in there. It's like an old mail drop.
Yep.
Kind of
That's
stick
exactly what it is.
And I've done it several times.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
We take those out. We get them laundered if we need to. Some of the tattered ones we take to the landfill, and they're really, really cool because if we make an appointment with the landfill, we take some of the ones that we just can't use, and they incinerate them for us. They stop everybody working.
Do they?
They
really?
play the national anthem.
No way.
And they load it those flags in the incinerator.
It's
really
incredible.
Our county landfill. I mean, we're just we'll call, we'll make an appointment, and when we drive up, we'll have boxes of them.
Yeah.
And they stop everything, play national anthem.
That's unreal.
And incinerate them the rightful way to put a flag to rest.
Wow.
Right.
Well, I'm home care.
Yes, sir.
So I at least got to ask a question about how do you think does that work when it comes to home care? We take care of a lot of clients.
Absolutely.
And we're constantly trying to help them out in their homes and obviously keep them alive and well and thriving. A lot of times I don't even think that we know, or caregivers or anything that would be helpful for my company, for us to be able to really start to talk about different things that could help our clients out. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's something that we don't think about.
Right.
Caregivers don't think about. We're in the moment. We try and plan ahead for what we do, of course, but I think funeral preparation, it's a touchy subject.
Sure.
So what's the best way to help someone in that situation?
I really just think that honesty of what we've been talking about, in your case, as you're leading people through things, guiding them, you can just touch on it. One thing you might want to think about, folks, is, the end of life.
Yep.
Is, do you want cremation? Do you want a body burial?
Right.
Because again, a lot of people just don't know. Right.
Yeah,
and so it just plants that seed in their mind. And you can say, if you ever get to that point and you have some questions, just give me a call. I can point you to people, people that you come in contact, other funeral homes.
Because we take care of a lot of people that are by themselves.
Absolutely.
I figure if a family member's involved and they've got family somewhere, then they're probably taken care of or something's going on there. But other than that, we're asking for DNR. We're asking for all these things that that we know. You have all the long-term care insurance policies. We're drilling down on a lot of things, but it's all in for the better, good for them, for the outcome. We want to make sure that they're taken care of. And as a company, we want to make sure that we can facilitate them all the way through. Right. That's part of, I think, what makes Avail different than other companies out there. We don't just want to give you care and then when you're done, you're done. Right. I think that we pride ourselves on making sure that we help someone through the whole process of aging. Right. And that's kind of why I'm doing the podcast right now. Right. This is a part of aging, and I want to get it out there that there's all these services and there's all these different resources that people don't know about. Right. And maybe they know about them, but they just don't understand them. And they're not going to just come one day on a Tuesday and drive their car in and say, well, hey, teach me about what I need to know about this. That's the reason why I'm doing Chad the Home Care podcast.
And I learned that. I mean, I've been in the funeral business 22 years, right? But it's for years it was, let's just take care of the people at the end of life. Yeah. But it backs up, right? It does. You know our table out there with your guys' cards and information on it. We have a lot of businesses that we like. We know how they do business. We're not going to refer somebody. I don't get a kickback. I don't get money. I don't get anything. It's just we know these businesses are good businesses. Yep. And I've learned, even setting with families, do you have, somebody will say, well, I don't know how we're going to care for dad or whatever. Yeah. I'll just walk over and I'll get a card and I'll just say, hey, why don't you call them? Yeah. It might not be a good fit, might be a great fit, but at least here, call. Yep. And I do that for several attorneys that we're friends with. I've just learned over the years, it's more than just doing your pre-arrangements, right? It backs up into, like you said, living the end of life the best you can with the decisions made. Yep. So good.
I appreciate you coming on here
I'm
today.
Not done.
Oh no, I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I tried to end it. And
No. I have Chad's DD214 because we're kind of this is Chad's report card
from probably 1992 or 3. Yep.
And so I just want to tell you a few things about this guy that you may not know.
Hey, and this is unscripted, by the way.
It is. 100%. He didn't know this. I said, hey, I remember when you gave me your DD214? I want to use it now. So I just want to say that Chad you were in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A little total of almost 4.
Almost 4. Yep. And so Chad ended up an E4, which is pretty quick movement. Yeah. For a guy for 4 years, right? Yeah. And when you look at a DD214, the first thing under remarks is Army Good Conduct Medal. Yeah. And a lot of people see that and they're like, Chad was a good soldier. He did things the right way. And that's true. But Chad doesn't move up the ranks unless he has that.
That's right.
And so I had asked you, Chad, 4 years you moved up. They were really trying to get you to stay, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
And Chad told me, he goes, all the time. Yep. Well, he would have never got to that, them trying to keep him without that Good Conduct Medal. So it's important that we know that about Chad. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is really, really pretty cool. So Chad got the Army Achievement Medal. Yeah. This is just under a Bronze Star. Yeah. I mean, that's how important. Meritorious things you did on the battlefield. Yeah. You were a tank driver. Yes. You were the first 2 tanks into Somalia.
I was the very first tank into Somalia. I was wearing a pager back then because there was no cell phones.
Right.
Our base was actually on the Quick Ready Force. And that meant that we were on the rotation for that. And just so happens, luck or not luck, I don't know. Mm-hmm. My pager went off and and I got the word that I needed to get ready within the next 15, 20 minutes, be in the gymnasium and be ready to fly out. And that's what happened. Wow. So I was the very first tank to fly into and land into Mogadishu, Somalia, in October of 1993, just after the Black Hawk got shot down.
Yep.
They were trying to get tanks previously, and they were told no. And so when the Black Hawks got shot down, I think that was the trigger to say, got to do something.
We gotta go.
So,
Right.
so yeah, I was that guy.
That's let me just read real quick and then I'll end. I'll quit this because I know you were interviewing me, but I'm interviewing you now.
The whole
it's just things like, I mean, we're sitting in Veterans Funeral Care in a museum full of veterans.
I should have known.
And you were hijacked.
Yeah,
so
I got hijacked.
I flipped the script. So to get this Army Achievement Medal, just slightly under a Bronze Star, I have his recommendation filled out.
Yes,
he sent me a copy quite a while ago, and I
not knowing it was for this.
I keep things like this, especially my friends. Spent countless hours as a tank driver under hostile conditions in an urban environment. His awareness of the combat situation allowed him to successfully maneuver his vehicle under all conditions without incident. For meritorious service while serving as a tank driver during Operation Continued Hope, at that time PV2, Private Second Class Fisher, distinguished himself by performing all his duties on an outstanding manner. His efforts reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Army. So with that, he received the Army Achievement Medal. So I just wanted to give you some props.
You got me.
That's important. It's important to us. It should be important to everybody out there who this guy is. Just because he did that years ago doesn't change anything. He's still that guy today.
Yeah.
And
thanks.
I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm really appreciative of you letting me coming in here and Jim, of course, letting me come in here and do this podcast with you.
There's a few people that if somebody says, hey, my answer is always yes. And you guys are one of those groups.
That's awesome.
That, if you want to do anything here, know it's yes.
Well, that's great.
Yep.
Any last words? Anything? At least say what the address is, website, email, that stuff, so that people know where to find you.
Everything, all our pricing, everything. We don't hide anything.
Yep.
It's on veteransfuneralcare.com. You can go to the website and you can look at absolutely everything.
Yep.
All our pricing. We're at 830 North Belcher in Clearwater. So just come up. We're just above north of Drew. Northeast Coachman, then we're the next block. Maybe we'll have a Hummer out there sometime soon.
I hope so.
He said, you can. He said, I'd love to park it there. That gives him some free advertising.
Great.
Makes us look good.
Yep.
So it's a win-win.
That's awesome.
But you can email me, patrickb.veterans@gmail.com if you have questions. Of course, you can call anytime. I'll answer anything. There's no fee. There's no, just like you guys, there's no, we'll give you a consultation. We'll talk you through everything. And if you want to do things, that's up to you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been great. You got me. I was probably blushing a little bit.
That's all right.
To edit. Anyhow, guys, listen, you definitely need to come down here. Veterans Funeral Care is amazing. This place is really something to see. Again, take a walk through here, see all the things, and it's great. So this is Chad, the home care guy, and I am with Patrick Blythe, and we are at Veterans Funeral Care, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Take care.